With the NFL draft officially being a week away, these questions remain. What is the Ravens' biggest need heading into the draft? Is the offensive line a quiet priority, or are they looking to reload on defense? All that and more in today's episode. Ladies and gentlemen, we are officially a week away from the NFL draft. Felt like it took forever, but here we are. So I thought today it would be fun if we went through and did a mock draft. I've never done one of these before, actually, so this is going to be a first for me. But I thought it'd be fun to look through this mock draft and see how things play out for us. Now, PFF labels us as needing a guard, an edge, and a DB. And lucky for the Ravens, with their position in the draft at pick 27, there's 3 players right there that they could pick from each of those positions. So it's really all going to come down to who's there, who's the highest on the Ravens board, and none of us are going to know that until the day of. So, for fun, let's just run through this little experiment. See, this is why we do mock drafts, guys, because look at who's gotten picked at pick 25. Now, this is the fan favorite. If you were going to ask any Ravens fan, at least any of them on Twitter, who would they most likely have? And it's Malachi Starks. That's the one guy that I really hope, and that's my top pick as well. But this mock has him going to the Texans at pick 25. So that would leave us with this as our board. Now, we're in an interesting position this year, kind of the same as last, because we don't really have any gaping holes in our roster, right? It's really just trying to improve upon what we've got, which is a good problem to have. It's also, surprisingly, another year that we don't have to worry about wide receiver in the first round. I mean, that's also a good problem to have. Although I will say, Luther Burden, this man's a dog. I don't know why it's not loading up. That man's a dog. I'm not going to lie, I'm really hoping Washington picks him up. Really hoping Washington picks him up. But next on the board is James Pierce Jr. Watch this big fella rush right in here. Getting straight to the quarterback. Boom! Lights him up. Now, edge is a pretty big need. Honestly, probably our biggest need that we could use on the team. Because when you think about how much pressure we were getting on the quarterback last year, it really wasn't that much. When we look at the position, we've got players like Odafe Oweh, Kyle Van Noy, and David Ojabo back there. Now, Ojabo was an interesting case. He's really been fighting injuries since we drafted him. Oweh, we're still kind of waiting on a breakout from him. He's solid, but he hasn't really panned out to be that player that we've really drafted him to be. And then obviously Kyle Van Noy, we love him, we respect him, but he's a little bit up there in the age department, right? So we could use a guy like big old James Pierce Jr. on our edge. And look at the talent that he's bringing. I mean, boom! Wraps this man up. Now, with Michael Pierce's retirement, I could also see them drafting this Omar Norman Lott guy, who's also from Tennessee. And that's another thing you got to consider, is players like Michael Pierce retiring. He was on our team for 9 years. Man just went out with the biggest bang that he could. So I respect the hell out of him. But that opens up a spot for Mr. Omar to get drafted. When we're looking at this board, Gray Zabel is also on here, who's a tackle, and that's another need that we could use on the team. Another name I'm hearing a lot of, Xavier Watts. Now, if we can't get Malachi Starks, Xavier Watts is another name you might hear if we need that safety. Now, truth be told, and this is just me completely unfiltered, I hope, by the grace of God, that we can just re-sign Ardarius Washington and call it a day. Now, does that limit Kyle Hamilton in our secondary? Yes. But it worked towards the second half of the season. And why take a risk on a new player when you have something that works, right? That's my philosophy. But I wouldn't be opposed to trying that out. But I'm just saying, if it were up to me, I'm paying Ardarius Washington, and I'm rolling with it. In this mock draft, I've got the Ravens taking Mr. James Pierce. That's it. Malachi Starks. Malachi Starks. That is my draft crush. That is who I am currently in love with to be a future Raven. Now, if you guys are enjoying this video, please remember to press that like button. Comment down below who your favorite team is and who you are hoping your favorite team drafts this year. Now, this is another piece of news that could affect the Ravens draft strategy, with the Dolphins looking to explore trade options for Jalen Ramsey. Now, that's another department that the Ravens could use a boost on, is their cornerbacks. Obviously, they had a little guy named Brandon Stevens on the team last year. And thankfully, he is no longer on the team. So that opens up the slot for Mr. Jalen Ramsey. Would I be opposed to this move? No, not at all. I would love it, personally. Just depends what we'd give up for him. But do I think we're going to give up a first for Jalen Ramsey? Absolutely not. And I'm really only focusing on the first round here today. But would I like this move? Yes, I would. Especially if it was like for a third or fourth round pick. I mean, come on now. Jalen Ramsey? Jalen Ramsey? Let's go. Speaking of trades, I've seen a lot of crazy talk about my man Mark Andrews recently. And listen, the plan is still the same. He's not going anywhere. Guys, I want to finish this off with something I saw on Twitter earlier this week. Challenge. Say one nice thing about the Steelers. Can you do it? I don't know if I could. So let's read some of these responses. They're great at losing wild card games. Ugh. This guy just said, no. Cool unis that every player looks good in. I can agree with that. They're a well-coached team, and Mike Tomlin's a Hall of Fame coach. I can also agree with that. Troy Polamalu was awesome, and I wish he'd played for the Ravens. Not better than Ed Reed, though. See, this is like one of those backhanded compliments, and I really with those. I'm glad they haven't gotten a real quarterback yet, especially this year with them having DK Metcalf on their team. Golly! They are a top 32 team in the league. Agreed. Now, guys, I'm debating on going live during this draft. I haven't really sold myself on the idea yet. Maybe I'll even do a giveaway or something. So, again, like the video if you liked this, comment down below, and we'll see you guys next week for the NFL Draft.